Welcome to Sports Tech HQ, a show where we explore the cutting edge of technology that is transforming the world of sports. I'm Jeff Hintz, and today I'm joined by Alessio Cicolari, founder and CEO of AK Group, and also the head of DALLARA-AK Esports, an innovative joint venture aimed at revolutionizing the world of sim racing and esports. Alessio, thanks for being here today.
Hello, Jeff, and hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and if you couldn't tell already, Alessio's from Italy. So
yeah, I'm from Italy. You can feel it from my accent, probably.
With a rich like racing and motorsports background.
Yes, I have the engine in my blood. So you have cars that are racing in my veins. So yeah, all right. I burn in Monza. So basically something that I have from my birth.
Yeah, from Monza. Okay, so first I just want to start by providing a little bit of context for our audience, a little bit more about you and AK really Group. As a founder and CEO of AK Group, you oversee multiple ventures, including AK Informatica, which I know all about, AK Esports, Esport Palace, and AK Hub. So can you tell us a little bit about these different companies and maybe their goals?
Yeah. Let's say that we have also additional companies that are not really connected to our, let's say, main target, which is technology, esport, and sim racing. But during the past years, we created new companies that are functional to the others, connecting all of them in a sort of chain that help the sister companies to grow together. So the main AK Group now is consisting in a holding company. They have the shares, the majority of the shares, most of the child companies. And we started with AK Informatica. AK Informatica stands for IT, so information technologies. And I created the first one, AK, was 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just, I ended my high school. In Italy, we finished at 19. And I was about to go to university, but I had the opportunity to start working immediately on the IT environment. And I remember that I was watching the Twin Tower thing, and I said, why should I try to do my own business? Because everything can happen, and it changed my mind, and I decided to open my own company from that day. I'm not joking.
Wow.
And after that, we started as a consultant. We were like selling servers, a workstation, but me and my brother especially, we were always gamers. And I had the opportunity in 2009 to open my first store. So I decided to open a different store. We needed to think different. And we are gamers. We want gaming equipment, and we want them now, not tomorrow, not next week. So I decided to have all the equipment that a customer like me wanted now, because I'm that kind of customer. When I want something, I don't want to wait. I'm looking for a place where I can buy now, even if I have to go.
So the company started really as IT, servers and things, but then you got much more
reseller
with a reseller, but much more niche with a gaming.
Yes.
Okay.
Immediately with a gaming as a retailer. But our B2B section continues to grow, but it was not my focus because it's difficult to communicate in that field. No, it's boring. So people doesn't care about you fixing servers, cloud system. It's really boring. And so when we started doing things with gaming, we placed in front at the entrance of the store with plenty of window racing simulator.
I see.
And I still remember a lot of cars that they were just stopping in front of it, causing also car crashes sometimes because they were seeing like LED lights, this kind of stuff they don't understand. So in a short period, we have been contacted by many brands like Cooler Master, MSI, Intel, and many others because we immediately also start utilizing social medias that were quite new at that time.
Sure.
Influencer, YouTuber. So social media strategies and events, tournament, fair, a lot of stuff. And that brought me basically to create new companies vertical on the different business models and especially in the different business units. Because, once upon a time, companies were having all the business units all together. a mix of things, and in my opinion, it's not good. So better to have also additional partners. So we have partners also for our legal company that they are legals, and I participate in the company, but because I bring my expertise and I use the service of the company, together we grow, and then we have additional business together that bring additional revenues. So this is the life motive of our companies. All the child companies of the holding is doing similar activities. So we have Esport Palace, which is a brand we created for esport centers. So with my research in the United States, there's no something like that, to be honest. The one we built in Italy back in 2018 with Samsung, it was a 3-floor building. The ground floor, you call it first floor. There were esport bar, so basically a cocktail bar with a restaurant and a gaming store. Second floor, we had a gaming center with simulation center. We had more than 40 computers, consoles, simulators. All was like gaming style, no? LED lights. We were hosting event, tournament. And on the third floor, we had the gaming house of the team that we created together with Samsung in a tournament all over the country. So they were like training, having the competition, and interacting with all the other 2 floors. And we had also a very big external area where we are having music, parties, and stuff. We were just in front of the university, so you can imagine the thing. So we created the brand. Now we have another one downtown Milano, together with one of the most famous soccer player. It was Bobo Vieri. I think he's still famous also in the United States. And we added also a broadcast studio because he owned one of the biggest Twitch channel in Italy. He started during lockdown, supported by us, to talk about soccer, then gaming a little bit, and we created this thing together. We supply and we support a lot of sim centers, venues, exhibition, tournament with our equipment, and if we are not directly involved as organizers. So we created this brand. AK Hub, which is the last one, I must say, not forgetting DALLARA-AK Esports, but the last one in Italy, is a business incubator and a co-working space in the biggest shopping mall that we have in Italy, and one of the biggest in Europe. Is a collaboration with the local government to, let's say, trying to promote the entrepreneurship, young generation especially, and obviously with me in tech. So it was not the best timing when we opened, because it was 2020 when they had the agreement, 2021 where they give us the key. So you know, imagine a co-working space during that time was not so good. But we had the chance to have a lot of connection with the different new entrepreneur that wanted to start a career. And we created the Academy, we call it. So it's a reverse incubator. So we got the ideas, you got the skills, and we give you what to do. So then you decide, you want to open your company or you want to work with us. It's up to you. So because we have a lot of seed to grow, and also we saw that it was a good thing. So
what kind of companies were these?
It's a lot connected with our business, so social media, digital stuff, even project manager in eSport. A lot of students coming from university. We use AK Hub also for connecting and working with the local universities. We do local courses of business development, so they ask me a lot of time to present my career, my ideas, to interact with them in dedicated minors. We will have one very, very nice in September, where at the end of the sport management course, there's also a section with eSport. They will have this kind of eSport competition. So the student needs to split in 2 groups. They need to create an eSport competition, sponsor deck and everything connected to the eSport. And then they have to host the event with us supporting them. And the student of the university themselves will be the players. So at the end of it, like in MasterChef, the students that play the tournament need to select which one was the best. So this kind of gamification we bring. And with the AK Hub and AK, we also providing new kind of educational services to mid and high schools. with the VR. So we have this research and development that we founded with the Intel many years ago to bring VR into schools, because gamification, it's a key to bring more attention to students. You know, history is boring, for example, but if you gamify it, you put the guys inside a war, or you bring them inside the Apollo going to the moon, you really have more interest. So that's why we needed to create different companies, because it's a lot of stuff, and I was lucky to find the right people working with me and for me. And we are still evolving like this. Then we had DALLARA-AK Esports, which
right. Yeah. So we'll get into that, but I want to talk a little bit about some of the partnerships that you've built over the course of the years. You know, you and I have known each other now for probably close to 2 years, and some of the partnerships you've been able to forge with the manufacturers, especially in Italy. You mentioned Samsung already. You've mentioned Dallara. Can you talk a little bit more about how you've done that, and maybe some of the partners, especially on the manufacturing side, and then how you partner with them? So if it's a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, how you partner with them with your businesses?
Yeah, there are very nice story, and some of them are also fun, because when I teach also to the students of the university,
Okay, so you're teaching too.
Yes, I am not a teacher, but I can have my knowledge and my, let's say, I did it. I didn't study. I did it.
Okay.
So now I'm thinking to go back to study, because I need like the base that I don't have, like some science and math around the business that I do. But I can say I tried and it was good.
Yeah.
So at least I can do that. And for example, with Samsung, it was connected to what we were doing with the influencer, with our tournament and stuff. So they needed to launch the new gaming displays. It was 2016, 17, I think. So we created a tournament together with them around Italy in a different exhibition, trade fair, in some of the biggest retailers to create their new team of Overwatch. And
for Overwatch.
Yes, the team was at the beginning just for Overwatch.
Got it.
So we had this team, but we were sitting down with the marketing manager, and because I was their customer, so I was selling the display, and I was not just a marketing company. So I said to Martino. Martino was the marketing manager at the time. Is a man that was really looking forward. It was difficult to find those kind of companies, very structured, so difficult to, especially in Europe. We go in Korea, they are like years ahead, but in Europe, not like that. So I told him, but now the next step, in my opinion, should bring the team connected to the people, but we need to sell the product. So let's build the eSport Palace. They put a lot of money on that, because it was not cheap to do this. And then we created the team. We started dealing also with the Samsung Europe. We supported them for the Gamescom, and we created like this for Samsung. In motorsport, it was kind of my aggressive interaction, let's say like this, because we have this kind of customer for the B2B stuff. It was a team near to my city. They were racing with Lamborghini at the time it was Ferrari in the Italian Gran Turismo championship, the real one. And they were asking me for some computer, server, and I was supplying them. It was a cool client. So I said,
I see.
Why not? Then it happened that he asked me, but we need to do the new website. Are you interested? We can maybe put your logo here. I said, I don't need the logo, honestly. If you want, okay, but let's bring something into the paddocks. I want to showcase that bringing a simulator in the paddocks can be cool. We can do an interaction. You can entertain your guests. So since then, we tried. We had the sponsor also giving us money to create dedicated areas at the paddocks, until I decided to create a competition to showcase to the local AESN, ACI Sport. That's this kind of competition can be also professionally managed and bring new talents to the world of motorsport. We did one-off events. We had I don't know if you remember Giancarlo Minardi, who was also the owner of one of the F1 team, and he was with us on the Imola podium together, giving the award to the winner of the esport with the simulator. We brought the simulator there. I still have goosebumps because going up to the podium, there were a lot of Senna picture on it, and Michael Schumacher have been there, Senna was there, and I said, and now
you're there.
I'm there with them. So next year, it happened. Funny thing that Porsche Italy was about to wanted to rent some simulator, and we got connection with Kuno, so the developer of Assetto Corsa, and Sparco. So they told me, look, there's Porsche. They want to rent a thing. You want to make a meeting? And I said, yeah, okay. I met Valentina Albanese, which is the head of motorsport in Italy. She was also a driver. She won the TCR championship. She's a very strong woman.
Okay.
Much stronger than some men, to be honest.
Yes.
And it's similar to me. So we started discussing about this thing. And I said, look, Valentina, I don't want to rent you the simulator. I don't want money. Let's do it like this. You have a beautiful hospitality. You have a super brand, which I love. Let's do it like this. Let's use the hospitality as a sim arena. And let's do a championship where people need to register online. They compete online, and the best 6 coming on site to do a race. We comment the race in the hospitality, and then we give them a prize. And you know what she said? Perfect, but let's give a unique prize. So the unique prize for the first 2 seasons was basically the winner needed to do the license to drive a GT car, and they were doing the last race of the year on the real 911. Wow. We had Enzo Bonito win the first year. He did the P2 in his category. Enzo Bonito is one of the most known sim drivers in the world. He did also the Race of Champion and many other. We were lucky because it was not easy.
Wow.
So this, let's say, give us the startup to go also to other brands.
Yeah.
Another nice story was the one with Ferrari.
Yeah.
Because
I love how you say that, by the way.
Yeah,
true Italian.
You know, it's true Italian, yes. Ferrari, I was always thinking to offer them something because they have a lot of stores around the world. They have theme park.
Sure.
But they were, at that time, 2018, they were not yet inside esport. They were like selling license for video games, but not really into it. And Formula One esport was already at the second year without them because they didn't agree to compete in it. So I was in CC in a mail by Kunos because they needed to bring 2 simulators in a Ferrari store in Milano. And I asked the CEO of Kunos, Marco, what do you think if I write to the guy I have in CC? Because I have 2 ideas. I cannot wait to let's go. He's a nice guy. He's Valerio, which now we work together and different stuff. And I sent this email. Obviously, sending email is a thing that I teach very well sometimes. To be very careful how to write it. You need to impress in the first 3 sentences because otherwise people, even like me, I'm not reading. Right. You don't have time. Right. So basically, he was interested in my idea, invited me in Maranello. We discussed, and after 3 months, I created the Ferrari Sport team. We won F1 Esport Championship. We created the Ferrari Sport Series. We managed it for 4 years. During lockdown, we did a lot of activity online on site with Leclerc, with Valentino Rossi, and with Maria. We exploded. We started working at the same time with the Lamborghini, with BMW. We created the first esport sim racing championship blended with the real one, the Fanatec GT Pro Series. Yeah. We were creating an arena inside the paddocks with 24 simulator, with the broadcast, live broadcast, even television, where the real drivers needed to compete in the simulator to get point and plus money for the real races.
Wow.
It was a FIA approved regulation. We had the FIA stewards. And then we included also the sim racing thing. So real driver, sim driver, all together. We are now partner of FIA. So we manage the motorsport games. This year, we will have the beautiful venue in Valencia, inside the Science Museum, where we have this kind of sim racing activity.
Sure.
So he exploded, to be honest. Wow. Since we have been invited to support SRO in Indianapolis, because we wanted to do something also in US, and I said, I need to be there.
Yeah.
This is my dream since I was a kid. No? So I need to work in US in somehow. And there probably where we met, because we were here together also with Dallara, because it is one of the brand, obviously, that in the pro I didn't mention because I want to reserve a spot for them.
Sure.
A special spot for them. But I was with them around Indy to to meet some of their partners. We went to the Butler. Probably we met
Butler University
with Butler,
yeah,
probably because
Butler.
you supported the esport section.
There, right.
And after that, for us was just a matter of how we do it,
right.
no why on if. So
if I heard you, what I heard was you took an opportunity and not selling servers to Ferrari back in the day, and you turned that into an opportunity of really kind of inventing this new category of creating esports with these major manufacturers.
yeah, let's
Ferrari,
say that
Lamborghini.
yeah, sometimes it's not just selling what they ask you to do.
There you go.
But be more creative.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you do the homeworks.
Yeah.
And doing the homeworks, honestly, is something that I do sometimes,
Sure.
but it's something that bore me like hell. So.
Yeah. So the simulator I've seen in action now. I saw it in Italy last year during
it was DALLARA during Mimo.
During Mimo, yep. And then you were back here in Indianapolis for the All-Star game, and you had an activation at the All-Star crossover, which is the Fan Fest. And you had an announcer that was calling the races like it was a real race. But I imagine working with these brands like Ferrari and Lamborghini and BMW and Porsche and Dallara and all these companies you work with, the simulators have to be precise. And so I've heard the technical term like digital twin. And
yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about like just, what the requirements are from manufacturers like those that you've partnered with to be able to produce an version of their car simulator?
Yeah, let's say that there are different levels. It's not all the time a digital twin. It doesn't have all the time to be a digital twin because it can be also fun. Mm-hmm. There are video games, I call it video games in this case, because maybe they are not like simulator, like Forza Motorsport is not a simulator, no, it's more like a video
Forza,
game.
Yes, a video game. Yep.
It's more like a video game, so it's built for entertain people.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use even like consumer products, very cheap products. So you can start from the basis, and then you can scale up until, I don't know if you ever seen the Dallara big simulator.
I've seen it.
Have you tried it?
No.
Maybe it's too long.
Yeah.
Too tall, probably. But you should because it's different. If it's different, and you can realize what is the big difference between that simulator and the simulator we use normally for activation. And the simulator we use, for example, those we use for NBA is a kind of a mix of esport and consumer simulator.
Okay.
We cannot use like pro simulator for regular people because they are not really able to drive them.
Right.
Like
it's too hard.
Yes, but like in the real car. When I did the first test with the GT3 Cup in a truck, for the first 3 laps, I was not able to brake. Because it's not like you imagine. They are very hard, and the throttle is super sensitive. The wheel is very strong, so you don't even enjoy it if you do it like this. So you need to be good to balance products, equipment, settings. Otherwise, it's too complicated. You don't like it.
Sure.
If you put like iRacing or Assetto Corsa competition without any help, and you bring it to the NBA crossover booth, people do like 2 corners and just quit because they cannot. So the secret is to balance this. But when you go to the higher level, then you have training simulator with real drivers train for the real race. I had a chat with Amati, which is an Italian driver that was doing Carrera Cup Italia, and then he started with the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. Last year, it was the first time he was racing in Spa. He's a sim driver, so he also drive a lot with sim. He tested and training on a simulator with the ACC, with Assetto Corsa Competizione. And when he went to the track, after 4 laps, did the first time. Because he was already aware of every single corner, the muscle memory was there. Sure. Then obviously you need to adapt to the real track. But you can use it as a training tool. Then there are bigger simulator, more precise, with more software in it, with more equipment that can bring the simulation even higher. Motion simulator.
Yes.
We built one very high technology together with Dallara. This is another connection point with Dallara, built for racer, built for training tools, and built for really wealthy because the cost is very high, but can be the digital twin of their expensive car. So if they don't have time to train with their car in the truck, they can do it on the simulator.
Okay.
And we can put like engineer helping them with a setup, coaching like you do in the real life. So we offer also twin services on the real world.
Okay.
So the gap between Forza Motorsport with Logitech,
Sure.
$200 and something like that, and the Dallara big simulators is huge.
Right.
But the common thing is that the passion for motorsport and automotive.
There you go. Good. So good segue then into Dallara. Similarly, an Italian-based company. They've been now based in North America here in Indiana for the better part of 2 decades. And you've worked with them, and you've got something exciting in the works now here in Indianapolis that you've had your eyes set on now for a while. Can you talk a little bit about what's coming? And, you know, I think about that esports palace kind of brand that you built in Italy. Is that what you're doing here in the U.S.?
It's yes and no.
Okay.
With Dallara, just a brief recap, we big connected. I honestly don't remember when, but it happened at what point. And I had the opportunity to talk a bit with Andrea Pontremoli, the CEO of Dallara Group, and in Italy especially. He was the president of IBM for a lot of time in Italy, so he comes from my field. And he's a visionary. He's a great entrepreneur, and it's let's say a guide for me. He's a guru. Let's say that.
A guru.
So I follow every speech he does and everything because he inspires me. And when we start like doing brainstorming, it's huge. I mean, it's really complicated for other people to stay behind us. And we were discussing about like cooperation. So we did a couple of esport activation during COVID time. It was not the best time, but during COVID time for us, it was a huge growth. So I still remember that we had the first broadcast. We cannot move. So basically we did it online, and also engineer Dallara was with us. And you imagine Mr. Dallara, I think now is 82 or 83, something like that. And it was commenting on e-sport competition. So, and he's like the history of motorsport and automotive globally. So for me, it was super exciting to do this. Then in the coming years, we saw that the connection we had were like growing and growing, because basically we were discussing right now just about activation, championship, entertainment. But every year I was seeing like a lot of technology development behind the scene, also on our side, like for broadcast, data collection from the simulator. Then when I was managing the Ferrari eSport team, because when we won F1 eSport, I was the team manager, so I was managing everything instead. I saw that we needed to go even further, data collection, study, elaboration, engineering stuff. And when I went to Dallara to see what's going on in the big simulator, it was quite similar, to be honest. So I said, probably we can use also the study we do and the technology we have with them to try to do like a digital twin. And then if we find something in our world that is even cheaper than their world, maybe we can try to connect those two points, no? So, and develop new tech. We can train sim driver that can be test driver for the real cars, because right now, Dallara, 90% of the time, they build the car in the digital. So who is more necessary, a real driver to test the car, or someone that come from the digital world to design the car, create the car, and test the car? Because all the testing, most of the testing are digital in every manufacturer right now. So this is just one of the points. Then obviously, esport and sim racing as a tool for entertainment engagement is still there. It's something. I love that. It's there. So I don't have to promote that more. It's growing, especially in the US, which was not that big. So I realized in 2022 that sim racing was still too low in the US. But thanks also to the investment that F1 is doing, and the States is growing a lot. So we decided to create something together, especially for the operation in US, and especially because obviously is in Indianapolis. So I mean, for an Italian, when you hear Indianapolis, for us there are two cities, two tracks that normally means motorsport. One is Indianapolis, the one is Laguna Seca. So even if Laguna is just a track, and Indianapolis we know very well, there is a completely different stuff. So I thought that being the racing capital of the motorsport and being the racing capital of the esport motorsport can be a good connection and a perfect match. And then when we met, especially with you and the IDC and the university, I realized we need to do it. I saw immediately a lot of connection, a lot of ways to interact. And then we decided to create new stuff. On the 23rd, we did our inauguration, and we disclosed a couple of points that I can talk a little bit right now because they are not really fully developed. But for sure, we want to mix the thing I was discussing right now. So let's say like this, without spoiling too much, because in my like different business, but also in my business, you don't invent really something, but you mix the knowledge you have and you create something that is good. No?
Right.
So basically, imagine if we do a competition where instead of just driving a car, you have also to create the car. You have to develop the car. You have to create it, the math, the physics, the graphics. You have to put it in the game. You have to create a team. You have to promote the team. You have to drive, and you have to compete against the other.
Yeah.
And what if we do this with the American universities? And what if we start with Indiana?
Love that. Love that.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Connect the STEM world with the esport, with the marketing,
right?
Business,
right?
Events.
Yeah.
In Indy, for all the time I come in Indy, there's an exhibition, event, racing,
There's always something going on, right?
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's fantastic. I love what you're doing. I'm excited about the future of DALLARA-AK Esports, not just here in Indiana, but I'm excited to see what happens with that here in the United States. That's Alessio Cicolari, founder and CEO of the AK Group. Thank you so much for joining us and what you're doing to expand the field of esports. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Sports Tech HQ. If you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. And remember, stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll be exploring another exciting innovation in the world of sports tech.